So welcome and greetings everyone for joining us for the pre-event webinar which is titled Innovations and Trends in Glass Processing Industry. This webinar is conducted under the banner of Second Global Glass Show on 11th and 12th of September 2024 at Movenpick Grand Al Bustan. My name is Anjali Deorane and I am privileged to host this significant webinar with our esteemed panelists. Today we have Phil Higgins, advisor at Glass Asia Impex, Richard Liao, CEO at Hawashia Glass, Mayank Arora, associate director at CFlo World, Jacob JIANG, export head at UC Thin Vietnam Glass, Omar Baraka, CEO at Pyramid Glass. Thank you once again, all of you, for joining in today. And without any further ado, I would like to ask Philip, what are the current market trends driving growth in the glass industry? How is the demand for specialty glass products influencing market dynamics and opportunities?
Well, thank you so much, and it's very nice to be here. The flat glass processing industry continues to evolve, driven by market trends and consumer demands. Well, architects have always loved designing with glass, bigger windows, more light, and the beauty that glass contributes to both interior and exterior design. Well, the demand for specialty glass products continues to shape the market dynamics, contributing to new opportunities for glass processing. However, for the glass processing industry, the backbone of business remains glass processing for windows and facades, especially in the Middle East region. Well, advancements in glass processing technology have truly contributed to a host of operational improvements, new machineries that can process larger size panels, and innovations for automated glass cutting, developments in the tempering process to improve flatness and the ability to temper more complex coatings with quality, better laminating capabilities, more IG manufacture improvements. All of these improvements are contributing to the improvement of glass processing for companies that are willing to invest in their business development. Well, the global emphasis on sustainability and energy efficiency is driving the high-performance glass products use, and building codes and regulations are becoming more stringent, requiring the use of energy-efficient materials. And this has been true for the Middle East region for some time. But today, a consideration that has more stringent requirement. These regulations drive architects to be more aware of glass coating types that are needed for solar control, as well as low emissivity to minimize the solar heat gain. The architect's mission in life has always been to have more light come into their building, but that also means more heat transmission. So the right glass coating is important, especially in the Middle East region, where summer temperatures can exceed 50 degrees Celsius. Building design today is more considerate to energy saving, and I think we'll discuss this a little bit further in this webinar, but also their goal is to enhance indoor comfort for both the residential and commercial markets. Well, the growth of the construction sector that is truly a driver for the glass processing demand worldwide, but I'd like to focus more so on the Middle East region. I'm based here in the UAE, and what's happening here in the Middle East is just phenomenal, with especially in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, because what's happening here is just amazing growth. I have some great slides that I want to share, but we can't share the screen, but maybe we'll get them to you. But according to Ventures Onsite, which is a construction intelligence database monitoring project activity throughout the Gulf region, they report that in 2023, the region saw more than $237 billion of contractor awards throughout the entire region. Now, that's all types of construction for oil and gas, water and power, but 75 billion of that 237 billion was just for awards for building construction in the Middle East region. And the similar number is expected for 2024. Now, for some that may seem a lot, and definitely it is. Those sorts of numbers were not experienced before here in the Middle East. Even in 2007 and 2008, when Dubai was just booming, these numbers are far exceeding the construction activity that we've ever seen in the region here. Well, some of the key drivers that are sort of contributing to this growth may be of interest to you. Economic and population growth fueling social infrastructure projects, also water and power and other utility projects, long-term government vision for activity, for their visions like Saudi 2030. You may have heard Vision 2030, D33, Plan Abu Dhabi 2030. These are visions of the governments in the region that are driving growth. The KSA Giga and Mega Projects program. I'm not sure if the viewers are so familiar with what's going on in Saudi Arabia, but it is phenomenal. When you see the mega projects that are being built in Saudi Arabia, I'm talking like construction sites with 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 and more workers on site. It's just amazing, some of these massive sites. There's a dramatic increased appetite for real estate spending here in the UAE. In the last few months, the last year, we've seen tremendous amount of new projects being released or announced for design here in the UAE, especially in the residential sector. The oil and gas major players continue to focus on diversification, sustainability, and expansion. There's new rail projects planned for Bahrain and Oman. There's a tremendous rise in the renewables program with solar farms and wind farms being built throughout the region. Massive investment in hydrogen and ammonia projects. There is just an increased focus on manufacturing projects. It's really dynamic to see what's going on here in the region. And yet we've still yet to see a lot of the projects that will be announced for some of the major events that are scheduled in the future, like Riyadh Expo 2030, FIFA 2034, Qatar 2030 Asia Games, although I think Qatar's got plenty of infrastructure to accommodate that. KSA Trojena 2029, the Asia Winter Games that will be happening in the future in KSA. There is so much growth throughout the region, and these are all drivers for the demand that we're seeing today, with most, if not all, glass processing facilities all reporting a very healthy order book today, and tremendous expectations for continued growth throughout the region to support the glass industry and the glass processors. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil, for the comprehensive overview. Your insights into the key market trends and the impact of specialty glass demand has been invaluable. It's quite clear with your viewpoints that the glass processing industry is poised for significant growth and innovation. Now, turning our attention to our next contributor, Richard. Richard, could you share examples of successful circular economy model adopted by glass processing companies to promote closed-loop systems and minimize waste generation?
Anjali, thank you for the question. So I'm the CEO of華夏Glass, and I'm very happy to share about the latest trend in the glass processing industry here in Asia, and also maybe share some lights that we feel that it's going to be in the future across the region, not just in Asia, but also in the UAE as well. Glass processing has become a tremendous power momentum generating machines that across our industry. For the container wise, we see that the processing speed as well as the processing quality of the color, which is broken or molten glass, that is used to reproduce the same kind of containers or bottles, has been increased tremendously in the past 5 years. Originally, in our current company, we were using at most 25% in terms of color for the processing materials. But now at our company, we use about almost 70% of the processing material. So the reason is not just because the strategy of the company has been evolving in terms of promoting these closed-loop circularities, but it's also because of the technology in terms of the speed, delivery, as well as the processing quality has become so much better in the past 5 years. A lot of regional players, especially in the China, Middle East area, they have come up with new machines such as color separation machine, as well as in terms of the optical light absorption and also detection, in terms of separating the waste material and also the pure quality of the glass to be very different. And this has been a tremendous improvement to empower a lot of the glass processing players to become more adopted to this new strategy of closed loop circulations. Another thing I want to share in terms of this new trend of the glass is that we do see that by being more circular and more produce the glass containers or bottles that have more color composition, starting to win more customers and consumers worldwide. We have been inquired by a lot of customers, not just in the Middle East region, but across the globe. They want to have almost 100% in terms of color consumptions. So which means in terms of their bottles, their packaging, their materials, they want to have 100% recycled material be used in their glass packaging. And it was not able to achieve maybe 5 years ago. But I think in the next 5 years or 10 years, this will become a trend across the global consumer markets. For example, in our company, when we deal with large retail chain in United States, such as Walmart or Target, they start to ask about the color consumption and also color concentration to be more than 50%. And this was not happening before, especially we know in the Europe, especially in the container space, that some of their players in Sweden or in Italy, they were able to use almost 90% to 95% in terms of color when they produce new bottles from the melting of the furnace. So we think that is the two trends that is happening. First is the technology advancement has making this shift in terms of closed loop circular economy to become more evidence in terms of the global glass processing container players. Secondly is the consumer awareness and also the global large retail players. They want to emphasize on this circularity and also decarbonization in the future packaging materials. And because of those two trends combined, it's driving a really strong momentum for the glass processing players to gradually replace the so-called the plastic and PET bottle players. And I think this will never, this is the trend that in my almost 14 years in the glass processing industry, I have never seen this before. We have been underbeaten by the PET, also the plastic player, even sometimes the paper packaging player for the past maybe 10 to 15 years. But now, like starting in 2023 going forward, I have seen this momentum to start to shift toward in terms of favor for the glass player. So I think this is a really exciting time to be in this business. It's come up with the value chain, the technology, and the customer awareness. Those three elements to drive the glass processing packaging to become a new momentum going to the future. Thank you. Anjali, that's my sharing. Thank you.
I was saying that we would like to thank you, first of all, for inspiring examples of circular economy models and adoption of such models in industry's sustainable future. Now, in the overall process of glass manufacturing, and how does it contribute to the quality and efficiency of the final product?
For the glass processing that is happening in the industry, we see the machine and technology has become a driving forces to make this trend or this eco-friendly trend to become a reality.
So I would like to again ask the question to Mr. Mayank. So Mr. Mayank, I would like you to educate us on what are the key advantages of silica beneficiation in the overall process of glass manufacturing, and how does it contribute to the quality and efficiency of the final product?
Thank you, Anjali, so much. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mayank, and I'm from a company named CFlo, based out of India. Well, glass manufacturing generally requires about 60 to 70% silica sand and around 15% soda ash as the composition of it and 15% limestone. The rest is divided amongst various chemicals. The availability of actually quality of sand is a serious issue and it dictates the price also. So while very good quality sand is available in different pockets in the world, but most of the deposits that are available are actually not directly usable in the process of glass making. Now, what are these components that do not allow the sand to be used directly? Now, there are the main deleterious components are iron and other heavy minerals like titanium and alumina also. And then definitely there are certain amounts of clay slimes. Now, what happens in this is that, when you are the silica sand for float glass, or we call it as sheet glass, it requires that the sand should contain about 99% and above of silicon dioxide and about 300 to 400 ppm, ppm being particles per million, or let's say in other terms is 0.03% of iron content within that. If it exceeds that, it is deleterious for glass making process. The other component that is required is the particle size, which is of the silica sand, which should be maintained around 600 to 100 microns. Now, as Richard was talking about, that there is quite a bit of a requirement of colored glass. So there are sands that could be used for making colored glass, which could contain a higher level of iron content, it can go up to 600, 700 particles per million also. But then the other parameters also need to be maintained. Now, one of the highest levels of application for solar glass, glass making is the solar glass, which requires a very high purity and a very high clarity content, and which is where the beneficiation is very, very critical, wherein you require this iron content to be less than 100 ppm. Now, what we need to actually, because when you are mining material silica sand from a source, there are a lot of other, there is a lot of trash, there is oversize, there are different types of material. So there is a lot of sizing, specification, cleansing. So all this put together through a process plant, which makes this beneficiation process as a complete scenario and giving the glass manufacturing companies the right quality of sand. So it is just not very simple as it seems, that you go and pick up silica sand from any mine and you can start using it to make. I'm sure Richard would vouch on that. And the process continues to evolve over a period of time, and it also basically helps achieve efficiencies of production and reduce the rejections within, if you are able to maintain a particular grade of sand. So beneficiation is a must as a part of it for different qualities, depending upon, so whether it is flint glass, whether it's container glass, whether it's sheet glass, or whether it's solar glass. So there are different types of applications, and different types of applications have different parameters or the quality of sand that is required. So, beneficiation is a must for that.
Thank you, Mayank, for the enlightening explanation. Your insight into the critical role of silica sand beneficiation in enhancing glass manufacturing efficiency and product quality are truly valuable. As we understand, this process is the cornerstone of industry success. Now, with this, I would like to ask Jacob, how are changing consumer preferences and architectural trends shaping the demand for innovative glass application? So, Jacob, we would like to know, like, how are the changing consumer preferences and architectural trends shaping the demand for innovative glass applications?
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob JIANG. I'm from THINH Glass. We are a glass manufacturer. We have one pattern glass line and one float line. We also do glass processing. And from the point of my view, changing consumer preference towards sustainability and energy efficiency significantly influencing the demand for innovative glass applications. Architects and builders are increasingly favoring designs that prioritize natural light and transparent materials, leading to the use of larger glass panels and facets like curtain wall also in both Vietnam and China. Additionally, the rise in demand for smart glass solutions, such like electrochromic or self-cleaning glass, can be attributed to consumers' interest in modern aesthetics and functional benefits. As a result, the industry is seeing a shift towards products that not only enhance design but also contribute to energy saving and environmental consciousness. And currently in China, the rise of the smart homes is influencing the glass industry. Consumers are interested in interrogate technologies such as smart glass that can change opacity with the touch of a button, or window films that provide privacy without obstructing light. The trend is pushing manufacturers to develop advanced glass products that home automation systems, and in Vietnam, increasing awareness about safety and security is leading to higher demand for innovation glass solutions, such as laminated and tempered glass, compared with around 10 years ago, which offer enhanced strength and shutter resistance. Architects and builders prioritize these materials to ensure safety while maintaining aesthetic qualities. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jacob, for the fascinating explanation of how evolving consumer tastes and architectural styles are driving the demand for innovation glass solutions. As our conversation evolves, now I would like to ask Omar, what are the challenges and opportunities facing the global glass processing market in terms of regulations and compliance standards?
So thank you very much for having me. First of all, my name is Omar Baraka. I'm the CEO at Pyramid Glass. We're a factory located in Burj Al Arab, Egypt. And so there are a lot of challenges recently when it comes to regulation and compliance. We have, first of all, the different environmental and health standards that have been changing over the years, and more recently it's been changing a lot quicker. So the environmental standards have become a lot stricter, and the issue is when you're working on a global scale, you have to be compliant with every single country's requirements. And so that leads us to a second challenge. It's that not every country has the same regulations and the same compliance. And so you have to keep on being compliant with every single country that you're dealing with. They have to send people over to come and see that you're working on their standard. And since it's changing so often, so we start to see a lot of issues and a lot of costs go up. And another challenge is that there have been recently, with what's going on in the Middle East and what's going on a global scale, there have been a lot of trade restrictions and tariffs being put in place. And I think we're seeing a lot of countries coming back from the long era of globalization to being more restrictive to helping the industries in their own countries. And we're starting to see that issue happen a lot more often recently because every country wants to protect its own industries. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar, for your insights on the regulatory landscape. Your overview of the challenges and opportunities present by compliance standards is crucial for industry stakeholders. Now, with this, I would like to ask Philip again, what are the factors contributing to the increasing adoption of energy efficient and sustainable glass processing solutions in the market?
Thank you. I love talking about coated glass and coated glass technology. For more than 30 years, glass has been the foundation of my career. And I say 30, it's probably a lot more than that. But as I said earlier, architects love to design with glass. And today, they're more understanding of the need for glass coatings to improve energy efficiency. And we've seen some amazing developments in glass coating technology, which has allowed us to provide a product selection that offers sustainable efficiency with a wider range of aesthetic options. We're seeing more use of coatings on clear glass today than in previous years, which I think is probably the most significant trend. This is where the coating provides the color, not the substrate. This is a trend that kicked off nearly 10 years ago when Guardian Glass developed and marketed a range of products that they called HD Colors. This is a series of glass coatings that provided solar control, similar to the glass that was used on the Burj Khalifa, so good, high quality product, but with a range of reflective color, blue, green, gray, silver, and bronze. Now, admittedly, a lot of these coatings were always available, but they were the first to sort of package these together and say, these are some colored reflective coatings on clear glass. The advantage of this type of coating, and I'll explain why I'm talking about this in a minute, but the advantage of this type of coating was that because the coating was applied on clear glass, the light that transmits through the glass was of a neutral tone with a very high color rendering index, and wasn't colored by the substrate of the glass. So the light coming into the building through green glass looks very green on the inside, where with a clear glass, it's a neutral tone, and we call this high color rendering index. I had the privilege of working with Guardian on these coatings many years ago, and a fact that not many are aware of today is that the development of this product range was inspired in some way by the late Rusty Bide, who was then the president of Guardian Glass many years ago. And I recall meeting with Russ 20 years ago when I first joined Guardian, and I asked him why Guardian Glass does not produce a lot of tinted glass products. They predominantly produce clear glass worldwide. And he said that making tinted glass was less profitable than producing clear glass. And so that's the number one reason. But he then went on to say that he believed, this was 20 years ago, he believed that the day would come when tinted glass would be an option with the application of a sputtered coating and not a manufacturing furnace transition from clear to tint. This was his vision many, many years ago. Well, that same technology that's being used in the development of this product has tremendous considerations today as it's been applied to developing some amazing coatings that offer both solar control and low emissivity, or low E, giving the architects today greater design flexibility with a range of visible light transmissions. Well, the booming market today in KSA has some just incredible, amazing projects moving forward, with sustainability as the key goal for their design. And this direction is being led by government directives, but also the developer, the building owner or the project owner's desire to provide or promote a more sustainable project design. They want to contribute to an improved sustainability. And so they recognize that glass and glass coatings can achieve more efficiency in their building design. But glass and glass coatings are not the only products that are being developed in the region. Recently, a new player in the PVB industry established operations here in the UAE called Goodman PVB, an independent operation that is now producing PVB and SGI products, which is a high-performing interlayer products. And glass processors are adding capability to process higher performing glass types. And this in itself is accommodating the need for better tempering or processing of these high performing glass coatings. Well, there's been amazing change here in the region, throughout the Middle East region. I think back 20 years ago when single pyrolytic coated glass was just the norm for all installations. And I was around in those days. And that was the case for most projects. But throughout the region today, governments have instituted programs to support the adoption of improved energy efficient products. And I believe the rise of the use or application for more improved products comes from an awareness supported by local product availability, and awareness through better understanding of what glass coating types and that can contribute to the project, and an awareness of what product is right for each application. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Phil, for the comprehensive analysis and highlighting the key factors contributing energy efficient and sustainable glass processing solutions. And I believe sustainability is a key priority for this industry. With this, I would like to ask again, Richard, in what ways decarbonization strategies be integrated into glass processing operations to reduce environmental impact?
Yes, thank you, Anjali, for the questions. And decarbonization has become one of the key elements in all the related glass business these days, especially, you know, when the ESG trend has been caught up with the global warming that has been become really hot topics across different kind of regions. ESG has become a universal or global topic, especially at the front line in the glass processing industry, for example, that we have long time been criticized in terms of the energy as well as, you know, the electricity we've been using, you know, for the processing and melting the glass. So what happened these days is that like a lot of different kind of techniques that has been long forgotten has become revitalized. When I say revitalize, means that people start to look at the techniques that has been used in the past. For example, oxygen fuel, oxygen furnace. And this has not been seriously studied before because oxygen furnace has become sort of cost ineffective compared to regular oil-based or electricity-based furnace. But now, because of the ESG components and as well as the decarbonization as a global habit or global trend, we started to feel that this might be an instance that in which you need to work with different kind of supply chain partners to start to develop the new strategy when you try to build a new glass plant, as well as when you try to rebuild your glass plant or rebuild your furnace. So it used to be a really cost unfriendly projects, and none of the players in the glass processing industry would think about. But we have seen in Asia and as well as in the Middle East, people are start to buy into the idea of this kind of oxygen fuel furnace or oxygen fuel driving powers for the future processing for the glass container business. Another part about decarbonization is trying to look at the glass plant in terms of in its energy usage. For example, we all know 24/7 glass furnace, melting furnace needs a lot of energy in terms of oil, in terms of gas, in terms of electricities. So when we trying to use those kind of energies, how can we use a greener energy, right? So is your glass plant being able to build a solar panel? Is your glass plant able to build with offsite electricity generators? Or is your glass plant able to have this kind of energy storage tank that can build next to your glass, and you will be able to use different kind of electricity charges during the off-season or off-peak season? So those are the key elements that has become new topics in today's glass processing trends. how can you save more energy? How can you make your glass plants with less carbon emissions? And this is where the customers and the suppliers, as well as the banking financial, they start to look at your plant and your businesses, and not just because of the revenue or profit that has become more important these days, but also in terms of how much carbon emission do you emit per ton of glass you produce. So this will be a new metric going on in the glass processing industry. I can only speak in terms of the container glass processing industry, but some of the webinar, prominent speakers, they can speak for other industry as well in the glass business. But I think this is a trend, and it's gonna last, at least for 5 years or 10 years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard, for outlining those effective decarbonization strategies. Your suggestion for reducing the environmental impact of glass processing operations are crucial for industry's sustainable future. Next on the agenda we have again is Mr. Mayank. So Mr. Mayank, I would like to ask, what are the effective beneficiation techniques for enhancing the quality of silica sand in the Middle East, considering the region's specific geological and economic conditions? Mr. Mayank, are you there?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Okay.
The most well-known technique and the most prominently used technique is a wet process technology, wherein the silica sand is put through a wet washing process, and with different kinds of equipment, you separate the different unwanted materials and size the material to the right fractions, and which is required for glass manufacturing, and come out with the final product. Now, in certain cases, there are a lot of unwanted materials which are stuck to the grain of sand, so you might require an additional scrubbing process or different kinds of methodologies of cleaning the material. But one of the most important thing, and what we are talking about from an environmental perspective, is that because this wet process requires a lot of water for processing, and with the scarcity of water in the Middle East, the systems that are designed and that have to be designed should be in a manner where you are able to recirculate and reuse the water from the system. So, whereas, we specialize in manufacturing of technologies where we circulate and recycle up to 90 to 95% of water. So basically, in all scenarios, we are trying to achieve a product for an application, but the perspective of keeping it sustainably from an environmental perspective has to be also kept in mind, and that's what the equipments are designed for, and that's how the processing technologies. So there's a lot of detail that goes into it, and different kind of process flows are designed for different kinds of sand for different applications. Specifically, when we are looking at solar glass, it's just not by a washing process may not, or a gravity separation or a magnetic separation may not be sustainable to produce solar glass, and you might need to go for an additional a chemical process, something going ahead. So keeping that in mind, one has to keep the environmental impact which is in your view, and design systems accordingly. So,
thank you very much, Mr. Mayank, for bringing your expertise in tailoring techniques to the region. Unique conditions is commendable. This knowledge is crucial for optimizing the glass manufacturing process and ensuring product quality. With this, I have next question is for Jacob. That is, how are the advancements in digitalization and smart technologies transforming the business models and operation of glass processing companies?
Okay, thank you. For me, the advancement in digitalization and smart technologies are revolutionizing the glass processing industry by streamlining operations and enhancing product offering. Companies are adopting advanced manufacturing techniques such as automation and AI driving data, data analytics to optimize production efficiency and reduce waste. And moreover, the interrogation of Internet of Things, which is IoT technology, allows for real-time monitoring of process, leading to improved quality controls and faster response times to market demands. And these innovations are enabling glass processing companies to pivot towards more agile business models, allowing them to customize products for specific customer needs and hence overall service delivery also. That's it.
Thank you, Jacob. Indeed, you have highlighted the important points how technology is reshaping the glass processing industry and embracing digital solutions is crucial for staying competitive. Last, now but not the least, I have a question for Omar. What are the key challenges and opportunities in scaling up recycling and reusing practices with the glass processing industry?
So recently, recycling and using has been a very big factor globally. But when we look, so I can speak specifically for the tableware industry. I believe that everyone else here would be more equipped to talk about their specific industries within the glass industry. But for us, for example, when it comes to recycling and reusing, it still does have its limitations within the current framework that we have. So, for example, when it comes to recycling the glass, if I'm recycling my own glass, that's fine. It's easy to do. But I think a lot of my colleagues on here have used the example of the components or the contents within the glass. And so every company has different components that it uses to make up its glass products. And so it's harder for me to reuse a glass from other factories or from different industries within my furnace, which then leads us to the fully recyclable or fully reusable glass, where it's not, the glass isn't as clear or is not as white or is not as transparent as is requested in certain countries or certain industries. And although that is a growing market, it's still a very niche market. So when you talk about a mass producing factory, I can't just work based on recycled glass products. I still have to cater to the masses. And so while it is a growing industry, I think that it's still a long way from being mainstream. And then something else I'd like to point out as well, I believe that Richard talked about this earlier, is the changes that are happening within the technologies of the furnaces, like mixing gas with oxygen and all that. And I think that is something that has to do with the recycling and reusing of the glass as well to make the process easier. But there is something important about that that's still a challenge. It's that we change or we update our furnaces maybe every 5 to 7 years, sometimes even longer. And so for us to be able to implement these new technologies, it still takes time for us to put it within our framework. And at the end of the day, a lot of countries do incentivize factories to get into recycling, to get into reusing, and not just the glass, but as well the gas process, the heat from the gas, and all of that. But a lot of countries still don't incentivize factories to do that. And so you're trying to follow these regulations in different countries, like the US and Europe, where they're really pushing for recycling and for reusing. But then you come to developing nations like Egypt, India, Brazil, places like that, where they do give some incentives, but not enough, where at the end of the day, I am spending out of pocket to get these regulations there and to actually keep up with the rest of the world when it comes to recycling and reusing. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. With your thoughts, we are able to analyze the challenges and the opportunities surrounding the glass recycling and reuse industry. Also, I believe addressing these issues is crucial for building a sustainable future for the glass industry. And now with this, I'm going to summarize this insightful webinar where we conclude that the glass processing industry is undergoing a transformation driven by technology advancements and evolving consumer demands. From smart glass and sustainable production to automation and digitalization, innovation is reshaping the sector. With this, I would like to appreciate and thank you once again, all our panelists, for bringing their expertise and knowledge to the discussion. It has
Anjali,
been truly beneficial.
I just want to say one more thing regarding Omar. I think Omar made really great points about
yes,
a lot of the right now, a lot of the decarbonization efforts that has been based is on enterprise level, but not on the government level. You know, the more advanced economy like Europe and America, they want to do it, but you know, like you say, like Omar, like developing economies such as Egypt or Brazil is out of your own pocket money. But we see that trend as well, and but we just want to share, like, you know, our perspective in terms of one day this will come back as a gift from the future, and this is the trend that has been set up by I don't want to say global government, but a global perspective. And you know, right now I'm sure all of us don't see the benefit of doing all this, but I can be assured that like maybe one day we will be able to see the benefit out of it. That's just my 2 cents. Thank you. Yeah.
I really appreciate Richard for putting more light on this topic, that how it is crucial, and we all believe that we can all have a better growth in the industry with this kind of vision. And we would request now all of you that thank you so much for sparing time for us and for this insightful webinar. And additionally, registrations are open on our website for Second Global Glass Show 2024, which is on 11th and 12th of September at Movenpick Grand Al Bustan, Dubai. So goodbye for now, and have a great day ahead, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.